Today I'm going to talk about something different, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Apparently there are two major mausoleums throughout the whole Hollywood cemetery, and these are both filled with Hollywood movie stars. This map also highlights some of the biggest stars. Welcome back to my channel. Hey Fits! The whole gang is joining me today. I'm so lucky. Today I'm going to talk about something different, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. If I wasn't stuck in Canada like a prisoner, it's somewhere I would love to visit the next time I'm in LA. Of course, he sits right in my spot. I love cemeteries. And I don't think it's creepy. I mean, maybe if you go at night or on Halloween, it's creepy, but if you go during the day, if it's a pretty cemetery, I find they're really peaceful. Where my dad lives is a small town a few hours from the city. I was up there recently, just down the street and up a big hill. I like to go for a jog there. They have a beautiful cemetery. That kind of inspired me as well to look into this place. Today, I'm just gonna tell you a bit about who's buried there, why it's such a popular and timeless Hollywood cemetery, and even how much it costs if you want to get buried there. So maybe one reason I like cemeteries so much is also because I watch so much Buffy. I even recently got a Buffy tattoo. She's always fighting demons and vampires at night in the cemeteries, So the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. This place is iconic. And if you couldn't guess the location by now, it's in Hollywood. From the front gates, you can see the Hollywood sign to the back, and to the other end, I believe to the south, you can see the Paramount Studios lot, which is pretty cool. Like, you're right in the heart of it all. In case you want to pay the place to visit, it is at 6000 Santa Monica Boulevard in Los Angeles. Not only is Hollywood Forever Cemetery a full-service cemetery, there's burial grounds, Shiro's growling in the background right now, but it's also a live event center. They often had tributes. According to Wikipedia, they would host movie screenings and live music, stuff like that. It is one of the oldest cemeteries in Los Angeles, so you know it's gotta have a crazy history. It was founded in 1899, and it was first called Hollywood Cemetery. They changed the name to Hollywood Memorial Park, and now, currently, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. What I read about the place, it's not just your modern cemetery. It isn't just a lawn park, as they like to call it, because it boasts a ton of popular statues, monuments, and just beautiful creation. It's a very big cemetery. There are two very large mausoleums, which are the big, mausoleums where they have crypts inside and there's bodies in there. They also have private mausoleums, of course, for people who want that and who have the big bucks. There are obviously a ton of outdoor graves. So if you want to locate any specific famous person or even someone you know, you're definitely going to need a map at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And I was actually looking at a map online so you guys can see it too. You can go to the front and you can get a map of the place when you get there, so it's easier to get around and locate stuff. Apparently you get it as you enter the park from the flower shop at the main gate. So like I said, since this is an old cemetery, it looks pretty different, and they have all these old monuments throughout the place. It's really picturesque. Apparently they even shot some movie and TV stuff there. Some of the monuments are even shaped like weird objects. One is even a rocket ship. There's an area that's right on the lake, so that part of the cemetery looks really pretty. Apparently there are two major mausoleums throughout the whole Hollywood cemetery, and these are both filled with Hollywood movie stars. Both of these buildings don't look like old and creepy mausoleums like you might see in the movies, even though they're super old. They're apparently white and sunny. The first mausoleum is on the west side of the cemetery grounds. Of course, considering it's Hollywood Forever Cemetery, there are a bunch of stars buried here. Some that I know were Judy Garland, there was Burt Reynolds, Mickey Rooney, two of the Ramones, Johnny Ramone and Dee Dee Ramone. And there are some other familiar names that you've probably heard, Anton Yelchin and Chris Cornell, who's buried by the Ramones. One celebrity that I'm familiar with from the olden days is Judy Garland, of course, from The Wizard of Oz. And in 2017, they actually moved her body from New York City to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Actually built Judy Garland her own pavilion. It's called the Judy Garland Pavilion at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. If you want to find this pavilion, it's apparently at the south end of the existing Abbey Mausoleum on the west side of the park. So obviously there's maps so you can find it. It's in a gray ivy-covered building with glass doors that face east. And while it's a private building and doors used to be locked, now people say that they can actually get in and get a look. She actually passed away back in 1969 when she was really young. She was only 47. She died of an overdose. One musician that I really love who passed away far too early as well is Chris Cornell, and he's buried here. Like I said, he is buried by the Ramones. His is actually at the Garden of Legends on the south side of the cemetery if you wanted to see it. If you are looking to get buried at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, you can have a traditional burial on the grounds, a private mausoleum, which I assume is for the fancy people or the celebrities or the really rich people, because I don't know many people who could afford that. They have a community mausoleums, and apparently those are one of the cheaper options for the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Crypts, which is in the mausoleum, and those are when you get buried above ground. We also have something called a green burial or a natural burial, which is for those wishing to be buried naturally with no embalming. They don't use a vault. Instead, the burial soil is mounded and gradually recedes over time. Loved ones are encouraged to participate in this burial, and they plant trees or something because it's like a natural burial. And of course, like pretty much every cemetery, they have a bunch of options for getting cremated as well. Finally, the pricing for the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. I actually don't know what pricing is supposed to be like, but I'm gonna guess this is expensive. Double depth lawn spaces, I think you can get buried beside a loved one there. They start at $22,000. Single crypts are $8,500 they start at. Companion crypts are from just over $14,000, so I guess that's two of you, like a couple. But I don't know how much it would be for a private mausoleum. I'm gonna guess because it's not on the website, it's really, really expensive. In the community mausoleums, they determine the cost by levels of the crypts. So the lower touch and heart level crypt spaces cost more than a sky or heaven or an upper tier crypt space. So I think you want to be closer to the ground. Anyways, you get the idea. So a lot of the celebrities buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery you might not have heard of because they are really from the old school Hollywood days. Sure, as sadly more modern celebrities pass away, probably a lot of them will choose to be buried at this iconic cemetery. Or the next time I'm in LA, I definitely will go and take a look. And I want to find Chris Cornell's grave. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next Sunday with a brand new video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!